we'd request our chief guest, Dr. Omkar Rai, to kindly approach the platform. Dr. Omkar Rai, Director General, Software Technology Parks of India and Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, Government of India, New Delhi. Ladies and gentlemen, we rarely get this kind of an opportunity to listen to the words of such a great personality. Sir, the stage is all yours.
I am thankful to the Bharti University for giving me an opportunity to be part of Bhartiyam 2016. I would also thank the organizers of Bhartiyam 2016 for considering me as a guest and allowing me to be part of this grand inauguration event. In fact, while going through the brochure of Bhartiyam 2016, I have encountered, very, very significant numbers, and they are very encouraging numbers. I am highly encouraged to read the brochure. In fact, Dr. Patangrao, Dr. Bhalerao has already explained in great detail about the scale of the function, the length and breadth of the function. But I would like to, repeat those figures myself. In fact, it is 27th edition of Bhartiyam 2016, and it solicits participation from more than 100 institutions from all across the country. This year they have hosted 3,000 students for almost 2 days packed event, and that is a great number. With this, I would say that the dignitaries on dais, the chairman of this function, Sri S.F. Patil ji, the principal of the college, Sri Professor Bhalerao ji, the distinguished guest on the dais, Sri my colleague Sanjay Gupta ji, M.S. Prasad ji, M.S. Sagre ji, Sandeep Banjale ji, dear students from this university and from the university from all across the country, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, as I said, I am really highly encouraged to be part of Bhartiyam 2016. As you know that India has a way forward, and that is the way of India embracing the culture of innovation, culture of entrepreneurship, because as Mr. Hadikar has just said, that there is a gap between the number of employment and employability. And the same way, even if we produce large number of engineers and train them well, we don't have enough jobs to offer them. And therefore, it is pertinent, it is imperative that our universities, our centers of excellence, our centers of higher learning, they embrace the culture of innovation, they enhance the competitiveness, they enhance the idea thinking, the innovation thinking in their students, so that their students, when they come out of their institution, rather than being job seekers, they become job creators. And Bhartiyam 2016 is just about that. It challenges the students and participants to dare to think. That means you have to think out of box. You have to think beyond your boundaries. And that is how you can dare, you can create jobs, you can innovate, and you can make yourself proud and this country proud too. If you look at the statistics, the number of engineers, those are produced from our engineering colleges, alone in the field of IT and electronics, there are about 8 to 9 lakhs engineers coming out of our campuses every year. And from the very reliable statistic that I have, we can hardly offer about 4 lakhs jobs to them. And that's how we can see that there's a great gap of 5 lakhs every year. Even if established finish schools, even if we train them well, even if they go and get training from best of the teachers, best of the technologies, in India, they don't have enough opportunities other than getting into entrepreneurship. And therefore, let's create our students, let's create an environment and ecosystem where our students, our graduates, rather than seeking jobs, they come out with innovative ideas and get into entrepreneurial skills, so that they can create job, they can create product, they can create wealth for the country and job for their countrymen. the Bhartiyam 2016 is akin to the kind of function and event that was held in Vigyan Bhavan this month called Startup India. You know, what is Startup India? Honorable Prime Minister of India had launched that. It was a one-day full event, packed event. And the people, participants, entrepreneurs, and the people who can dare to think, dare to dream, they participated in that event. And that was the day when we could tell the world that India is transforming, India is moving ahead towards a nation where we can innovate, we can create product, we can enterprise, and we can create enough job for our countrymen rather than going abroad or seeking jobs wherever we need. You know, India is, moving towards ease of doing business. India appreciates that the young graduates need a kind of ecosystem, a kind of regulatory environment where they are not bothered and they could coolly think about, they can establish their enterprises, their companies, and do whatever they want. It is very, ironical that so far we have not been able to meet the challenges, meet the requirements of the day, and we could not create an ecosystem, we could not create a kind of regulatory framework where ease of doing business was maximum. And that's why it is need of the day that on one hand, we promote the entrepreneurship, we challenge our graduates to dare to think, dare to dream, dare to innovate. At the same time, governments of the day have to create a kind of ecosystem to come up with a kind of support mechanism in terms of angel funding, in terms of venture funding, providing enough support, and most importantly, ease of doing business has to be best so that our graduates create companies, they fail fast or they pass fast, because the graduates don't have much time to waste and they have to fast, they have to engage themselves in an accelerated manner and decide whether they could create enterprise or they could not. You know, I represent Software Technology Parks of India, and my organization was created in 1991. STPI is almost synonym to the IT industry because the IT industry feels that way. The IT industry started with establishment and creation of STPI. The visionaries in the Department of Electronics and IT, the Government of India, they had a vision, they dared to dream that point of time that India can become the home of IT industry in times to come. They could forecast, they could estimate that IT industry can become one of the largest industries in the country. And that's how they came up with the rules, regulations, organization to support and nurture that ecosystem. And the statistics which I am going to tell you would prove for itself. You know, in year 1999, the contribution of IT industry in the Indian GDP was merely 1.2%. If you look at the contribution of information technology in the Indian GDP in year 2014-15, it is at the tune of 9.5%. You know, if you look at the export that have been made by the IT industry in year 2014-15, it is in the tune of $98.5 billion. And in 90s, it was merely $500 million. So look at where we have come, how much we have achieved in the field of information technology. Today, the IT exports contribute about 20% of the India's export, total export. 1/4 of the India's export is contributed by the IT industry. This IT industry employs about 3.5 million engineers today. And they are the engineers, well-meaning engineers, working at all levels. Every year, about 3.5 lakhs jobs are created in this sector. These are the white jobs and employs the graduates from the engineering colleges. If you look at the revenue that have been mopped up by this sector in year 2014-15, it is in the tune of $132 billion. In year 2013-14, it was merely $116 billion. What I am trying to say is that India's 1/4 of the export is happening in the field of information technology. India has moved up the value chain. When the IT industry started in India, the coding was the only job that was outsourced to Indian industry. And today, India is home to most of the R&D work that is happening across the world. R&D work, research work, innovation work has been outsourced to Indian entities, and our Indian entities, manned by Indian engineers, are carrying out the job for their customers, their masters. We have got the engineers at all level. They are mature people, and that's how the people who are engaged in the IT industry are leading the wave of startup culture in this country. They are the people who are becoming the new entrepreneurs in this country. They are bringing wealth, value, and brand for this country. As per any statistics, you will see that out of total 3,100 entrepreneurs, the IT startup companies that has happened, 800 plus startups has happened only in year 2014-15. You can see that the startup culture is growing in very accelerated manner in this country. If you look at the angel funding that has received in India, till 2014-15, the entire angel funding that was received in India was in the tune of $2.59 billion. In year 14-15 alone, we have received $2.25 billion angel funding in India. That figure says that the startup culture has now taken up in a very big manner in India. And that is the answer to all our problems. Because we have to create the jobs, because we have to create the opportunities for our countrymen. And as I said, there is large gap between the number of graduates that we are producing and number of jobs that we are creating. If you look at the total sourcing business in the world, about 60% of the sourcing business is outsourced to the India. We are the leaders, unchallenged, unquestioned leader in the world in the field of IT. But we are lagging in the product creation. We are lagging in the IPR creation. And that is where we have to focus. Because unless we create product, unless we create entrepreneurs, unless we create corporations, unless we create companies, we cannot meet those challenges. Because if we look at the India's contribution, share to the total IT and electronics business in the world, it is merely 7%. That shows that whereas we are doing very well in the terms of outsourcing, we are not able to reap the benefits of growing the part of IT and electronic goods in the world. A study was conducted in my ministry, Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, in year 2012. And based on that study, a triad of policy, national policies were created. Because to make it sure that India grows the way we plan, we felt a need of creation of a policy. And under Ministry of Communication and Technology, there are 3 departments. Department of Telecom, Department of Post, and Department of Electronics and IT. And a triad means 3 national policies were created: national policy on IT, national policy on electronics, and national policy on telecom. I would talk about 2 policies right now, that is the national policy on IT and national policy on electronics. As per that study, it was forecasted that by 2020, the exports from India will be in the tune of $200 billion. And the total revenue in the field of IT will be $300 billion by 2020. If we translate these numbers in the terms of jobs, by simple arithmetic, if nothing changes on the ground, by 2020, the IT sector in India will be able to employ, by this measure, by this rate, about 7 million engineers, 70 lakhs people. It is said by the economists that every direct job in the IT sectors create 3 indirect jobs. You can yourself see the contribution of IT sector in India's economy will be tremendous. Because by sheer numbers, if you manipulate and see, the direct number of engineers employed by 2020 will be about 70 lakhs, 7 million. And indirect engineer, indirect personnel employed in this sector will be 7 multiplied by 3, about 2 crore 10 lakhs people. There are about 3 crore people will be employed alone in the IT sector in this country. And that is the strength of the information technology in this country. The India has witnessed so many revolutions. Agricultural revolution meant for growing enough food for our countrymen. We succeeded. The milk revolution, we needed milk for our countrymen. It was organized. We succeeded. But it was for self-reliant. The IT revolution that happened in this country created a broad equity for this country. Now Indians are seen to be a brainy people. If you land in Chicago, the immigrant officer, migration officer, he would ask one question: you are an IT engineer? Even if you are not, he will look at as if you are an engineer, you are a great person. This was not the case before. Indians were not treated to be so brainy. If the kind of saying that Mr. Hardikar has just said, that if I treat it as a joke that one Indian is equal to 10 Japanese in terms of brain, then I would say that IT has brought, the information technology has brought this kind of perception about Indians in the entire world, and that their perception about India has changed. The contribution, if you look at the second policy that I am talking about, national policy on electronics, we are very pathetic in terms of production of electronics in this country. We are importing everything, and our neighbor countries are growing in our cost. We are consuming electronic goods, creating jobs for our neighbors, and we are losing a lot of wealth at their hands. And therefore, in year 2012, the kind of study that had happened had said that in year 2014-15, the electronic sector in India will be about $100 billion. It would constitute import that we have, the consumption of electronic goods that we have. It doesn't mean that we export and manufacture. And it was forecasted that by 2020, India will consume and require $400 billion of electronic goods. It was also estimated that by that time, India will be able to manufacture about $100 billion electronics goods. It would, and if we want to meet the entire requirement, we would require $100 billion investment. It was estimated that if we could do that, if we could manufacture $300 billion goods in this country, it will translate into 228 million direct jobs in the field of electronics. On one hand, we will be able to create jobs. Other hand, we will be able to save our foreign currency, create a kind of market, a very thriving market, a great India, where IT and electronics put together will be 50% of Indian GDP. That is the kind of future we are looking in terms of in IT and electronics sector. I would call upon the graduates, those who are coming out of engineering colleges. I would also exhort the teachers to really work hard in creating such kind of forums across the country, because every center of excellence, every university has to work. From every place, we have to promote the idea thinking, the design thinking. We have to nurture the culture of innovation, and we have to promote and strengthen our students to think beyond horizons, to think beyond boundaries. Let them dare to think, dare to dream, and dare to innovate. This is the call of the nation. This is the great service that the India requires. You know, when we are moving and transforming from a service nation, from a outsourcing nation to a product nation, at the same time, technology is also transforming. And it is to benefit India, because from, legacy, systems of storing and computing, we are going towards cloud computing. There is an opportunity, great opportunity lies for our entrepreneurs. We are going to grow in terms of grow in terms of uses of IoT, Internet of Things, because with IPv6 in place, and because consumption of lot of electronics in India in terms of security in every household, we are going to generate a lot of data. We are going to require a lot of machines, lot of storage to host that data. And at the same time, we are going to need a lot of brain, a lot of people to analyze that data. And these three things put together presents a lot of opportunity to our young graduates, to our entrepreneurs, where they can look for a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunity for the entrepreneurship and product creation. I would once again thank the university, the College of Engineering, the faculties, the students for giving me a wonderful opportunity to be with you and get encouraged, get excited, and get so hopeful about future of this country. Thank you.